Good morning. I hope you're all doing well today. This is our last lesson in the Facing History unit on Reconstruction. And the way the last lesson in a Facing History unit works is we look at the legacy of what's left behind in that unit. So today we're going to look at the legacy of Reconstruction. So over our studies, we've seen how at the end of the Civil War, all of the slaves were freed, and at first they were given all kinds of rights. They were allowed to own land, they were allowed to vote, they were allowed to hold public office. We saw a lot of them in Congress, we saw a lot of them in the state legislation, we saw a lot of them in local office holders, sheriffs, school boards, mayors. And then over a course of 10 years, as people got nervous that they were getting too many rights, a lot of those rights were taken away from them. So where do we stand today, 150 years later? Have they gotten all of those rights back? Are we a true democracy where everyone has those same rights? And during this pandemic, it's a really interesting time to stop and think about that. As we look at who's getting treatments, who's getting tested, who are the people that are affected, who are the frontline workers who are still getting sick? Is it a true representation of our society? So it's just kind of an interesting question to think about based on where we are right now. So let's stop and think a minute about who's being affected today by COVID. I was looking at some statistics over the weekend, and in Cleveland, 62% of the people that are getting sick from COVID are African Americans. Mr. Coonihan was reading a report over the weekend that in Washington, D.C., the population split is about 50% white, 50% black, but 80% of the people that are getting sick by COVID are African Americans. He also said that those were the people that also had a lot of underlying health issues, but I was just really surprised about the disparity in the people that are getting sick with COVID. And, it just seemed kind of striking to me. So today we're going to kind of come full circle on our year. The first thing you're going to do is watch a video from Facing History which talks about the legacy of Reconstruction. So it'll talk about Reconstruction, but then it'll also talk about where we are today. And it's going to ask you to think about what's happened from Reconstruction through today and where do we stand as a society. Here's where we come full circle. The reading today is from Bryan Stevenson. Remember him? He wrote Just Mercy. So I was really excited when I saw that. So there is an excerpt from a speech that he gave in a TED Talk that you're going to read. But I've also put a link up on Classroom for the TED Talk if you want to watch it. I'm going to make that optional for you because the TED Talk's 23 minutes. But if you want to watch it, go right ahead. So you're going to watch the Facing History video. I didn't put an exit ticket up for you. There are some discussion questions after the Facing History video. Then you're going to read the excerpt from Bryan Stevenson or watch his TED Talk. If you want to watch the TED Talk, that's fine. The reading excerpt is not the whole TED Talk, but it is a longer reading. And then there are 2 questions that you're going to answer, not just based on today's lesson, but based on all of the Reconstruction questions. So they're writing prompts, but bring in everything we've done from Reconstruction. Okay, so they're kind of the final writings that you're doing about Reconstruction. So you're going to watch this video, which you're doing. You're going to watch the Facing History video. You're going to answer the questions based on the Facing History video. Then you're going to read Bryan Stevenson's excerpt. You can also watch the TED Talk if you want to. And then you're going to answer those 2 discussion questions. Remember, that's not just based on today's lesson, but on all 6 of the Reconstruction lessons that we've done. So pull in evidence from everything to answer those 2 questions. Additionally, having nothing to do with today's lesson, but I am also going to put up a study guide for your assessment that you're taking on Thursday. That is worth a grade, so make sure you do that, but it will also help prepare you for your assessment on Thursday. Otherwise, I will see you on our online lesson today. Have a great day.